Hello, and welcome to Quick Charge by Electrek, keeping you in the fast track with daily EV and green energy news. I'm Mikey G, and it's Tuesday, September 8th. Tesla stock is actually crashing today as the automaker announced that it has already completed its $5 billion capital raise. The company wrote, quote, "On September 4th, 2020, Tesla Incorporated completed the sale of $5 billion, before commission, of its common stock through its at-the-market offering program previously disclosed on September 1st, 2020. The final settlement of the shares sold is expected to be completed by September 9th, 2020. And as you know, September 9th is tomorrow. Tesla shares haven't reacted well since the announcement of the capital raise, and this morning the stock is down, this time as much as 16% in pre-market trading. It's one of the biggest swings downward for the stock since the rally began earlier this year. Not all of this was a result of the capital raise. The news came out recently that Tesla was excluded from the latest S&P 500 reshuffle, and it was excluded during that time. Panasonic has confirmed plans to expand at Tesla Gigafactory, Nevada, with the new production line, resulting in more battery cell production next year. Over the last year, there has been many reports that Tesla's relationship with Panasonic has actually been deteriorating. However, the situation seems to have improved a little bit, and this is during the second half of the year. The Japanese giant announced that it's finally making money at Tesla Gigafactory, Nevada, where it manufactures battery cells exclusively for Tesla, and the two partners signed a new contract shortly after. And now, Carl Walton, the Vice President of Production Engineering for Facilities at Panasonic Energy of North America, he told the Reno Gazette-Journal, quote, "There's some construction work that needs to take place over the next couple of months. Then early next year, we'll be installing new equipment with production starting shortly after that." The comment is in line with the previous reports of Panasonic deploying a 14th production line at Gigafactory in Nevada, and starting to build more new, energy-dense battery cells. Walton confirmed that Panasonic is hiring 100 more people for this expansion. Volkswagen has released a new video of a surprise meeting between CEO Herbert Diess and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, in which Elon Musk himself drove an upcoming ID.3 and ID.4 electric car. And on the video that was released on Herbert Diess' personal LinkedIn, you can see Tesla's CEO driving the car and asking questions about the drive. At one point, he's heard saying, "I think for a non-sporty car, it's pretty good." There was a lot of speculation regarding the meeting after it happened last week. Some people were asking if Tesla and Volkswagen would enter into some kind of joint venture, but it appears to be a social call. As a matter of fact, Herbert Diess put an end to the rumors and confirmed that there is no deal in the making with Tesla. A few hours after sharing the video, Diess commented on the post saying, quote, "Just to be clear, we just drove the ID.3 and had a chat. There is no deal or cooperation in the making." However, after that, Diess himself later drove a Model Y that he had labeled a reference car for Volkswagen. Diess said, quote, "This car is for us in many aspects, not in all, a reference. User experience, updatability, driving features, performance of the top-of-the-range models, charging network, range." Tesla is launching Phase 3 of its massive virtual power plant in southern Australia, and confirmed that soon, almost 4,000 homes with power walls and solar systems will be connected together. A virtual power plant consists of connecting several small distributed energy assets, such as residential solar panel systems and home battery packs, and using them together to provide a large grid service. Robin Denholm, Tesla's chairwoman, announced, quote, "Tesla is taking the next step towards accelerating Australia's transition to sustainable energy with the launch of Phase 3 of the South Australia Virtual Power Plant, growing the program towards 50,000 South Australian homes." Tesla is going to pay $18 million to deploy the battery and solar systems in the third phase, and the Southern Australian government is contributing $10 million. The households will receive the systems at no cost and will pay for the electricity from them at a rate more than 20% lower than that which they paid from the grid. Bill Gates has thrown some cold water on the Tesla Semi project and recent comments from Elon Musk about the possibility of commercial electric airplanes. Gates said, quote, "The problem is that batteries are big and heavy. The more weight you're trying to move, the more batteries you need to power the vehicle. But the more batteries you use, the more weight you add and more power you need. Even with breakthroughs in battery technology, electric vehicles will probably never be a practical solution for things like 18-wheelers, cargo ships, and passenger jets. Electricity works when you need to cover short distances, but we need a different solution for heavy, long-haul vehicles. Now, to summarize his solution, Bill Gates instead suggests biofuels as a potential alternative to batteries for those segments of transportation. And as you can imagine, in Electrek's take, Mr. Gates is discounting major sections of innovation. These very claims were voiced against electric cars for many years, and moreover, various companies are hard at work pushing the envelope of energy density. This episode of Quick Charge Podcast is brought to you by Electrify America, the nation's largest coast-to-coast charging station network for electric vehicles. No matter where you're heading, they have chargers nearby. And at charging speeds of up to 35 kilowatts for capable electric vehicles, they'll help you get there fast. Find out what they're up to at electrifyamerica.com. That's electrifyamerica.com. Electrify America. Hello, freedom. General Motors and Uber announced a new partnership today to help drivers buy Chevy Bolt EV electric cars with employee discounts and financing options. General Motors actually once invested in Lyft, the rival to Uber, and now they're partnering to, quote, help accelerate the rideshare industry's transition to all-electric zero-emissions future by offering drivers on Uber platform special pricing on the purchase of new electric vehicles and charging accessories. More specifically, GM will be offering its employee discount on the 2020 Chevy Bolt EV to Uber drivers in Canada and the US, as well as 20% off the discounted MSRP for Bolt EV accessories, including the home charging stations, actually. Now, to be fair, GM is already heavily discounting the 2020 Bolt EV ahead of the refresh that's coming next year, so kudos to that. Nikola Motors announced a partnership with General Motors. Nikola writes, quote, Nikola Corporation today announced a strategic partnership that begins with the Nikola Badger and carries cost reductions through Nikola's programs, including Nikola Badger, Nikola Tre, Nikola One, Nikola 2, and NZT. As part of the agreement, Nikola will utilize General Motors' Ultium battery systems and Hydrotech fuel cell technology, representing a key commercialization milestone for General Motors. Now, some other points from the announcement are as follows. General Motors is to receive $2 billion equity stake in Nikola in exchange for certain in-kind contributions. General Motors is to engineer, validate, homologate, and build the Nikola Badger for both battery electric vehicle and fuel cell electric vehicle variants as part of the in-kind services. Nikola anticipates saving over $4 billion in batteries and powertrain costs over 10 years, and over $1 billion in engineering and validation costs. Now, in Electrek's take, it seems like GM is doing a lot of the building work, and Nikola is basically a branding company at this point. The press release itself says, quote, Nikola will be responsible for the sales and marketing of the Badger and will retain the Nikola Badger brand. At Electrek, we're not entirely sure why General Motors agreed to this. Korea is going green on transportation. South Korean President Moon Jae-in announced a $17 billion investment, and the country will boost the number of electric cars from the current 110,000 to 1.13 million by the year 2025. Also, Korea will increase the number of hydrogen vehicles from 8,000 to 200,000. Seoul's Environment Ministry said that it will achieve this massive green car growth with government subsidies. The country also intends to add 45,000 charging stations by the same date. Moon's administration says that this will create 151,000 jobs. Moon also announced that South Korea will more than triple the number of solar and wind and power facilities by 2025 compared with last year. Further, the country will shut down 30 more coal power plants by 2034, or specifically, it will close 10 coal power plants by the end of 2022 and another 20 by 2034. And in Electrek's Green Energy Brief, a new report from global energy consulting group Wood Mackenzie suggests that U.S. presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden, his $2 trillion climate plan could help the U.S. achieve power sector decarbonization by the year 2035. That's 15 years ahead of the Paris Climate Agreement. Food and drink giant Nestle reported today in a media briefing that it has increased the shares of recyclable or reusable plastic in its packaging to 87%. That means it's making substantial progress toward its 100% goal by the year 2025. Reuters reports that Nestle, quote, has vowed to reduce its use of plastics by a third by 2025 and spend up to 2 billion Swiss francs to boost recycled plastics. A major ingredient in solar panel production is silicon. Solar panels that usually have a service life of 25 to 30 years tend to degrade and produce less electricity over time, and this makes silicon waste recycling a hot-button issue. But there is a bright side to solar recycling. Scientists at the Skolkovo Institute of Science and Technology in Moscow have figured out how to convert silicon into silicon oxide nanoparticles, which can then be recycled. This method can be used to avoid a huge amount of waste by the year 2025. Scotland's Ardbeg Distillery in Arbroath has designed a pea-based climate-positive vodka that it claims creates a carbon savings of 1.53 kilograms of CO2 per 700 milliliter bottle. By the way, that's PEA as in sweet pea for the pea-based vodka. Business Green explains, quote, firstly, peas, like other legumes, produce much of their own nitrogen thanks to a symbiotic relationship with bacteria that fix nitrogen from the air for the plant. As a result, they do not need the synthetic fertilizer typically used to grow cereal crops such as corn, wheat, or rye. Secondly, peas contain significantly more protein than cereal crops, which leads to the creation of byproducts known as the pot ale that can be reused, leading to further emission reductions. And finally, in Electrek's personal mobility coverage, a new electric bike review was published on Electrek's YouTube channel, this time for the Aventon Cinch folding fat tire bike. For $1,499 of price, it was found to be a great competitor in the space. With performance, speed, and power to boot, the bike is ultimately built for adventure and comes from an honest, good company. Thanks for listening to Quick Charge by Electrek. I'm Mikey G, and I hope you have a great day.